Hi, I'm James Thomas of the site Bicycle Design. As you might guess from the name, Bicycle Design is a site about bikes and design. It's really more than that, though. We talk about really anything that's human-powered and innovative. So velomobiles, electric assist vehicles, 3 wheels, 4 wheels, 2 wheels. If it's innovative, if it's human-powered, it's up for discussion. I'm honored to be the jury captain for the transportation category of the 2015 Core77 Design Awards, and I want to introduce the fellow members of the jury. The transportation category is a very diverse category. It covers all types of vehicles for transporting, and I felt it was very important to have a jury with a background and different experiences in different facets of transportation. So I think we have a really great group. I couldn't be happier. We had great discussion. I want to go ahead and introduce the jury to you now, starting with Eric Stoddard.
Yeah, my name's Eric Stoddard. I'm a design manager with Ford Motor Company, so I'm here representing the automotive industry. But it's really great to see all of the blue sky thinking with alternative transportation. It's one of my personal passions. I'm a cyclist as well. I have a lot of interest in alternative energy, alternative transportation, user experience, and all that. But my day job is design for vehicles, and so I'm honored to be here. I've seen a lot of great work, and can't wait to talk about it.
Great. Thanks, Eric. Also on the Hangout today, we have Rob Cotter. Rob, I'm going to go ahead and let you introduce yourself as well.
Hi, I'm Rob Cotter. I'm with Organic Transit. We design and build velomobiles and little EVs, as well as lots of cool bicycle stuff. And we recognize, oh wait, that's probably it, right? Right, just an introduction. That's all you needed.
Yeah, it works. Do you want to say more? You've done other things.
Yeah, I've had a few decades in vehicle development, everything from little tiny, skateboard-like vehicles to working with McLaren SLR and AMG, Porsche, BMW. But really, my emphasis has been on environmental vehicles for most of my life. And in the past 5 or 6 years, we've focused on building the ELF, which was catalyzed by some involvement with New York City bike sharing, and realized that there's a market for this sort of vehicle. So that's what I've been doing. And
all right, sounds good.
Yeah.
We have 2 jurors who couldn't be on the live hangout today, but I want to go ahead and recognize them. They put a lot of work into the process. We're active in the discussion. We had an international jury, so these happen to be our jurors who were in different time zones. Torgny Feldskar, who happens to be 6 hours ahead of the rest of us, so appreciate Torgny staying up late in our initial discussion. Torgny is design director for BMC Switzerland, a bicycle company, if you're not familiar. He's also worked in the bicycle industry for Cannondale Bicycles. He also has a background in the automotive world. He worked for BMW in Munich prior to joining BMC, and he had previously worked for Mazda. So he brings a unique perspective. In addition to his core job, Torgny has a side project, laser.com, and he manufactures high-tech furniture. So it's really a pretty diverse background. Really appreciate Torgny's input. I'm sorry he couldn't be here now. I also want to introduce Melissa Bruntlett, and Melissa couldn't be on the call. She lives in Vancouver, also a different time zone from the rest of us. It's been a little difficult scheduling for all of us, but Melissa sent in an introduction video, so I'm going to go ahead and go to that now.
Hi there, my name is Melissa Bruntlett, and I am co-founder of a company called Modacity based in Vancouver, British Columbia. Our goal at Modacity is to help promote and enable multimodal transportation both in urban centers and in smaller cities, and we do so through writing for various publications both in North America and abroad, filmmaking, most notably with the Vancouver Cycle Chic films, and also through speaking engagements in North America and beyond. You can find us online at modacitylife.com and on Twitter at modacitylife.
Okay. Now that you've met the jury, we're going to talk a little bit about the process of judging the transportation section. First, we'll start with the professional category. We had really a majority of our entries in the professional category. Probably 2/3 were either bicycle or pedestrian oriented. So interesting from my perspective to see that. The remainder were boats, airplane related, really just a small percentage automotive. So kind of an interesting theme overall. The bikes generally, a lot of integrated features seem to be a common theme with them. But let's get right into the ones that we selected. I'm going to mention the notables first. The first notable is solid for industry. We like the styling of this bike. It's a bicycle. It was innovative from a manufacturing standpoint with a printed titanium construction. It also had an app that was a pretty common theme, some sort of smartphone integration. And one of the things that I thought was interesting about it was the integrated navigation system, which used haptic feedback, so kind of a tactile feedback through the grips to let you know that you need to turn left, you need to turn right, something like that. You're not actually having to look for something, but you can feel when the smartphone, the guidance system tells you to take directions. So, anyone else have comments on this one?
Yeah, this is Eric Stoddard. I'd like to talk about Solid. I thought it really caught my eye as a beautiful styling statement. Some really wonderful solutions in terms of the integration of the stem, the fork, dropouts. Those are all areas that tend to be compromised in a mass-produced bicycle. And then the whole aspect of 3D printing, the titanium joinery, and what that means to manufacturing and being able to bring the manufacturing local rather than having to go overseas where labor costs are cheaper, but really using technology. So a beautiful bike, great thought in terms of manufacturing, wonderful execution.
Okay.
I'd just like to echo what Eric just said, that really exceptional design, a custom type build on a bike on a mass production level. Looks like potentially decentralized manufacturing, really innovative, wonderful overall piece.
Okay, great. I'll mention our next notable. It's the Solstice jogging stroller for Burley Design. Eric was one of the big proponents of this one, so I'm going to let Eric talk about it.
Yes, well, I happen to have a 9-month-old daughter, and I'm currently using one of the competitors to this product, and so this one really caught my eye for its one-handed operation to fold and unfold. I think that's fantastic. Mine is a much more cumbersome solution, and also the straps, the design of the straps, being able to strap the child in and out. And there's so many other little clever solutions throughout the product, but didn't see it quite as a game changer in terms of style, but in terms of function, it's definitely a step ahead of where its competitors are today. So it's definitely worthy of an honorable mention.
Okay, great. Our first runner-up in the professional category was the Peterbilt Walmart Advanced Vehicle Experience, and this was for Walmart. It's an 18-wheeler, but it was pretty innovative, and it's in a category that really needs some innovation. So I think the focus on aerodynamics and weight savings translating to better fuel efficiency is what really interested us. If you're going to have these big trucks on the road, and there are a lot of them out there, impacting the fuel efficiency is a pretty big deal. There were some safety improvements as well. Eric, do you want to talk about this one? I know you were behind this one quite a bit too.
Yeah, I was a big proponent of this one. Again, echoing what you said, it reinvents a segment which is a significant part of transportation on the American road and across the world. But so much of our goods and services are provided through large cargo vehicles, and this addresses so many different solutions, both inside and out. Obviously the aerodynamics is a big part of it. The use of alternative materials, composites, the entire trailer is carbon fiber. The interior layout, the whole interior is like a living room. The driver position is amazing. Just the unparalleled visibility, and those two pods sticking out of the steering wheel that have all of the information needed for the driver. The use of an alternative powertrain, the micro turbine engine that can burn biofuels or just about any other alternative fuel out there, and the fact that they made a drivable prototype that's a huge undertaking, and it's worthy of some real recognition on the part of the team that developed this. So congratulations on the award.
Rob, do you have anything to add on that one?
Just a little bit. That we tend to overlook tractor trailers as this kind of nuisance on the road. They're sort of like just billboards flying past us, and I think it's really important to recognize this this endeavor here as sort of like a Prius of tractor trailers. This could really shift weight in the right direction and real innovation and real environmental savings for these basically land ships that bring everything we get in this country. So my hat's off to them. It's really cool design. I haven't seen anything like this in a long time, since the old Luigi Kalani days. So very cool.
Okay, great. Move on to the next runner-up. This one is another bike. As I said, bikes were the majority of our entries. The Evo Urban Utility Bike for Oregon Manifest. This bike, kind of like the Solid, it's one we really liked. We went back and forth on these quite a bit. I think all the jurors shortlisted this to talk about when we had our initial discussion. And there were some neat things about it. We liked the quick connect frame design. It was an innovative frame design. The modular accessories connect either to the front or to the rear, so you can set this up. It's a fairly heavy duty basket and other accessories that you can connect in. It had a lot of integration, as we mentioned with the Solid, integrated locks and lights. It had a front end fork lock, which is kind of a neat idea. When you've got it loaded up with cargo, you simply lock the fork so that when it's leaning against the wall, it's not going to tip over. It gives it kind of a overall. It's not a kickstand, but it's kind of like a free kickstand. If you have it lean there, it's not going to fall over. We also had some concerns with this one, and one of the big concerns was the seat adjustability. It has like a 90-degree seat post angle, so as you're raising the seat or lowering the seat, it affects the rider position. If you raise the seat very high, it's putting all the weight forward. As you lower the seat, weight's going back. So that was a bit of a concern, but it's still a very innovative design and worthy of runner-up status. Rob, Eric, do you guys have anything to add?
I would say that this was a very close potential winner here, actually. Can you still see me or hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Something's happened.
I see you.
Okay. So,
I see you too.
So really extremely innovative design. But one thing I'd like to say is that all the bike entries were pretty much in this urban bike category. And this was the only one that truly brought in the aspect of real cargo carrying to some extent. Still having the versatility of an A to B practical bike, and then putting on quick release of these cargo components, which was really innovative and cool, and it did the best of that job there. Also, innovative manufacturing techniques, a really well thought out design, and I was just concerned about the seat relationship. That was my only concern. The rest of it I thought was really cool. So a great job and a great bike.
Yeah, and I agree with Rob. Great urban mobility solution. It definitely speaks utility. It looks like the racks are functional. They can carry a significant amount of weight, and yet they're beautiful. There's no stanchions off of the axles. I mean, and all the accessories look cleverly designed. The saddlebags, the child seat, everything. I mean, this really could be the bike for just about anyone in an urban environment. The frame has a very strong visual presence, and it communicates what the bike does, and so very well done. This was a really tough decision whether this would be the winner. So hats off to the team that developed this bike.
Okay, great, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I'll echo that. It was all of these are tough decisions, but yeah, there's so much discussion that goes on, and it's funny how we kind of ranked ahead of time, and some of that changes as you're discussing with the group. So some of the entries that I had ranked higher and lower going into it, I kind of changed my mind as we discussed it a little bit. But there were so many little details and small differences between these. Let's move on to our next runner-up, our final runner-up. It is the Breakout Flexible Business Suite for BE Aerospace. It's a little bit different than most of the other entries. This is an area basically for a business class seat. So it's an innovative use of space. They kind of took a different approach with it, rather than just having a seat that can go flat, that can sit up, that adjusts to a bunch of different positions. They really looked at this space that the seat takes and tried to make a more functional unit out of that. So we liked the way that there was a separate stool and desk area for the customer to eat or to work on a computer, or it just gives another position in a long flight. If you're on a 14-hour flight, which I was on a week before we judged this, so it's fresh in my mind. But you want to get up, you want to move around, and having that flexibility to move from your seating position, your reclined, your bed type position to a working position. It was a really innovative use of space. So what do you guys think? What do you have to say about this one? I know Eric mentioned when we were talking about this that it's not really the scope of this project, but it would be neat for other type applications as autonomous vehicles come on the scene, and there's more of that type application. Eric?
Yes. Yeah. Again, to echo James's comments, great use of space. It truly is a living room on an airplane. Lots of neat materials and finishes. Great ambiance, great atmosphere, yeah, I saw this as does this have to be on an airplane? Could it be in an executive bus or a train or an autonomous car? There's so many alternative transportation solutions coming online in the next few years, and this kind of use of space and atmosphere could be really cool. So great work. It's not sure if this is going to be in production or if this is just a concept, but it's great. It's a great exercise.
Okay, great. Rob, you want to say anything about this one?
Yeah. So really exceptional use of I'm assuming materials, space, innovation, componentry, and I love Eric's mention of it using in autonomous vehicles. I think of it right away in the small little campers, perhaps even like a bicycle-drawn camper would be kind of cool. office space, tiny house movement. That would be really cool. But I suppose that, you know, when you're paying $8,000 across the Atlantic, you ought to get something, right? And this probably does that pretty well. So yeah, just kind of surprised. I wasn't expecting to see anything like this, and I thought it was a great architectural use of a transportation structure and making the most out of space, and really neat, just really neat.
Okay, great. Well, that brings us to our winner for the professional category. And our winner was another bicycle entry. As we mentioned with some of the other bicycle entries, the two others that we've mentioned so far, it was a difficult decision. We like the Evo utility bike. This was one that we all shortlisted, and it's the Merge for Pensa. This is a bike that has a lot of integrated features, and that was something I think we all liked about it. It has lights, it has integrated lock, has a wheel lock, like a space for U-lock. It's got fenders. It has USB charging, which is pretty cool. The integrated features were also a little bit of a concern for us because the fender that pulls out is really neat, but we question whether it's as good as a dedicated fender. The same with the rack. A really neat design for the way that the rear rack pulls out. But there's some questions about, you know, how durable is that rear rack. But as we talked about it more, it's really a great design for an urban environment, and that includes not just the riding around the streets of the city, but if you live in a 350 square foot apartment in a dense city, you really don't have a lot of room to store accessories, to store these modular cargo bits. So having everything kind of integrated there into the bicycle, and it's a sporty design, definitely geared toward a younger crowd, but it's really well thought out. So, you know, some of our concerns, we talked about this. We were, as we mentioned before, back and forth on the Evo, on this design, but this is the one we chose. We agreed on top. Great design. What do you guys have to say about it?
I think there's a really neat, you know, the baseline of that bike is a really neat kind of roadster, kind of a modern day hipster roadster bike that does lots of things. I think some of the innovation that we saw on there kind of has not been done before. So that's leading to a really cool new category of bike use. How that works out, the actual components, will remain to be seen, but I think it was a really innovative, cool idea moving forward. And I think kind of, you know, again, this was really neck and neck with, you know, some of the other runner-ups, and I think what made it win out a little bit was a component of style, that it really looked pretty neat when you tucked everything all in, and then you had this capability of this Swiss Army type of capability to pull these things out when you needed them. So neat stuff, different, and I think that's what made it win out, was just that kind of gave it just a slight edge. So congratulations to that team.
Yeah, great. Yeah, I agree with that. Eric?
Yeah, I was sold on the pull-out rack. That was what really caught my attention, and the lights and everything just being so well integrated into a stylish, sporty type of bike. And I mean, it's a no compromise solution. It looks great, and it has all this utility at the same time. And there's so few bikes that do that. So again, congratulations to Merge and to the team. Great work. You really set the bar.
Okay. Yeah, great. Absolutely. Congratulations to the winner in the professional category. We're going to go ahead and move on to the student category. The student category as a whole was probably a bit more diverse. I'd mentioned that the vast majority of our entries in the professional category were bicycles. I think we had a more even mix in the student category. So we'll start with our notables from the student category. Notable here for First one I've got is Quick 15. It's a sailboat for Savannah College of Art and Design. And I think we like there was a lot of versatility to this. I don't know a whole lot about sailing, but I think it functioned for rowing and had a couple of different options. Maybe I should let Rob help me out on this because he knows a lot more about it.
Well, again, the fact that the student project, they built it, that's pretty impressive. That's really cool. The fact that they addressed this category, which, probably its heyday was really back like in the 70s and 80s, I think, with the Hobie cats. So here they've addressed it again and gave it kind of the versatility of a kayak that that's been the small boat choice of the last couple of decades. So they've implemented both of those. That's pretty cool. They built it themselves. So slick, innovative design, and I imagine a great path in front of these guys that were able to pull something like this together, and congratulations on that.
Okay, great.
Yeah, great work, beautiful boat. Personal catamaran. I mean, I can imagine for a beginner sailor, the catamaran is a much more manageable type of boat to handle and much more stable and safe, and still looks very sporty and maneuverable, and nice work, very nice work.
All right, great. The next notable we have in students is the Hug Bike Compact Fun Family Mobility for University of Applied Science, Graz. This is it's a cargo-oriented lean steer trike, really pretty neat, and it had a lot of thought into the way that it could carry, I think, 3 different kid seats. You could remove that, have a large cargo area. When the kid seats were in the front, you still had a slide-in cargo area below. So, a lot of thought to the organization. The lean steer part of this is pretty neat too. What do you guys have to say about this one?
I liked it a lot. I thought it was cool. I'm a sucker for all lean steer vehicles like this. I think it gets a little bit hairy edge potentially when you're doing a heavier cargo and you have the weight up a little bit and then you start leaning it. So what happens at that point? But those are just issues to be worked out. I thought it was really neat, and I wish them the best of luck and would recommend they move forward with that.
Yeah, I really admire the complete urban mobility solution that this presents, and being able to haul your family, haul your stuff, look good doing it. I would imagine electric assist would really help out with some of the additional weight, but I get very beautiful concept and nice work. I would love to see where this ends up in a prototype. Okay.
Yeah, great. Let's see. Our last notable in the student category is Aripio. It's a disaster rescue vehicle for Art Design and Architecture, University of Huddersfield. So this one's a little bit different. It's an amphibious vehicle, so kind of like a really heavy-duty ambulance that can go into a disaster area if there's rubble, if there's issues where it's impassable. They can get there by water. So a lot of thought into this, as well as on the inside, thought to the space planning. It's a pretty big undertaking for a vehicle of this size and scope for a student project. So definitely thought this was worthy of a notable. You have anything to add, Rob?
Really cool, kind of a land of the lost kind of vehicle, right? Just kind of inspires the imagination, and things like this are out there in the tundra and doing all sorts of cool stuff. So really exciting to see, and just a great place to play with your imagination, and they did a great job. Really cool.
Yeah, it has almost a military application to it too, almost like a troop carrier, but a little bit more friendly, a little bit more approachable, but still tough. And really, and some really cool thoughts on the interior. and the structure of it and everything. So good, great work.
We'll move on to our first runner-up in the student category, and that is the Smart Bike 2015 for the University of Antwerp. This one it's an interesting bike, and when I initially looked at it, I thought, yeah, it's an interesting design. But as I saw more about it, it's kind of a redesign of the classic European bike share smart bike. So it's a nice redesign, an updated design. It has good cargo capability in the front for a bike share bike. So thought this was a worthy runner-up. You guys have anything to add?
Again, I think that it's a great redesign, and there's a tall order there, making bikes that are durable, kind of bomb-proof, and then you want to electrify them as well, and the amount of miles and the abuse that they're going to get in all sorts of weather. So I think they did that effectively and with style. So that was really well done.
Yeah, and this bike initially struck me as more, like I said, a redesign of the existing bike share system. But it's very cleverly done. There's a lot of great details. The app is great. The charging station. It's all been thought through. All been very well thought out. The style is great. So yeah, good work. It's a really nice evolution of the bike share category.
Okay, great. Getting closer here to our winner. We're going to announce our next runner-up. That's the Pigeon for Vilnius. Probably mispronounced that. Academy of Arts. This is a scooter. It's a pretty basic scooter, push scooter. Very nice aesthetics. We like the way it folded, and it's kind of neat how when it's folded, it can rest on the user's shoulder. It's got a hook that, or a curve that's part of the design that forms a bit of a hook. So you can put that up on your shoulder, as it shows in the presentation. Somebody on the bus. Interesting. It's got a larger front wheel, which is nice. Having ridden some Razor scooters and scooters with tiny front wheels, that's definitely difficult unless you're on a glass smooth surface. But that was one of our concerns with this as well, is how much it really differs from existing scooters out there. It is a very nice design though, so it was chosen as one of our runners up. What do you guys have to add to this?
I liked it. I think it was really cool, super light, versatile. Bring it, traveling with you. It's collapsible. I had some concerns about the tiny wheels, but that's just a matter of the surface that you're on, and just well executed. Kind of a design kind of moved forward, and a lot of people weighed in heavy on this. It was very attractive. The video was great. It was the whole package was put together really well, and so good work and a great design, and it's a neat category as well.
Yeah, this one I really fell in love with the styling. It's very endearing. It's very friendly, confident, and it's a new twist on a very familiar segment. I wouldn't say it reinvents the category, but it just does so in a much more simplified, elegant, and endearing kind of way. And I also have a lot of respect to the students who actually went all the way to prototype. And and went through the exercise of solving all the problems that you find when you try to actually build something instead of just sketch and render. So it's the image of the woman carrying it on her shoulder, really sold me. So that's great work. Fantastic.
Okay. Great, yeah. I mean, the presentation was great, and I think we mentioned a little earlier on, I mean, presentation matters in design. They did a great job, not only with the design, but with communicating the design in a limited amount, with a limited material, a great video, some really nice images, and well thought out text. So Congratulations to that team. We're going to announce our next runner-up. And this is another scooter, but quite a different scooter, I think, the Moon scooter. This one, unlike the Pigeon, you couldn't throw this over your shoulder. It's pretty tough looking. It's as Eric mentioned in our discussion, a badass look, which kind of novel for a scooter. It's a different demographic, I guess. This one has wide tires for rough pavement. We were a little concerned about ground clearance, but that's part of the look with this. Probably wouldn't hurt that too much to raise it a bit. But some really interesting ideas like the RFID keyless start. So when you're in the proximity, you can start this. Like I said before, it's not something you can carry in with you, but it's something you ride to your destination, move outside, come back out, you'll be able to start it up and ride home. So, Eric, you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, it's tough. It's badass. I really this would be the one I'd ride on the streets of Detroit, Michigan. We're famous in Michigan for our terrible roads, and so this is the one I would definitely ride. It looks rugged, it looks utilitarian, but it's low and sleek. I love the simplicity of it, the honesty of it. There's nothing frivolous about it, and a great piece of urban transportation. Really cool. And again, kudos to the designer for actually building a rideable prototype. That's a huge undertaking.
Yeah, absolutely. And during our discussions, I think Eric was the main person to remind us all that, hey, this one's a rideable prototype. They made a working prototype, so that's certainly something that is worth considering, especially on these student projects. So I agree with all that. Rob?
Yeah, it was definitely the Bigfoot of scooters. It definitely had a lot going for it. And I think underlying all that cool style and kind of Thunderdome feel to it, it looked like there was a real thought process regarding production, low cost, bill of materials, reproducible. I think there's a couple of things that would need to be addressed as it got into further iterations, but really cool, very styled, and I'm sure it would be a hoot once it was all dialed in. So, just a great concept, and we'd love to see something like that, that we could rent on the beach all the time.
All right. Great. Well, now we're down to our last one, which is the winner in the student category. So, without further ado, this wasn't an easy one, just like with the professional category. But we chose the Lindo Smart Vehicle for RMIT University. A lot of discussion went into this. This was one that 3 of us had on our short list. As I mentioned with professional, there were quite a few that all 5 of us picked beforehand. Going into student, we had a little bit different list, so it was good. It was good for the discussion. Some of the things we liked about this one was that it's an innovative approach to public transit. It's really one of the few, if not the only, entry that was kind of a systems approach. So it's a lightweight electric vehicle based on tuk-tuks that are used for transportation in parts of Asia. It's commonly used. But this is kind of an updated design, and it also has a technological aspect to it. So the system allows a user to order one of the vehicles to a location, pay for it on the smartphone. So sort of like Uber in that respect, but it goes beyond that. It pairs with the user's smartphone so they can track usage, monitor usage while they're in the vehicle. The phone kind of becomes the command central. Just a neat design, a lot of thought into the presentation of this one. Great video. So that's our winner. What do you guys Rob, why don't you start on this one?
Well, again, it's a tough deciding process. There's so many cool features to so many of these vehicles, but I think the one thing that I would say about this particular project was that it addressed global concerns. 70% of the world population will be living in cities in the next 25, 30 years. What are they going to be doing? What vehicles will they be sharing? How much footprint are they going to be taking? How are they going to access those vehicles? Most of those speeds are going to be very low. So this is obviously something pretty near and dear to me in many regards from a technical standpoint, but from just an environmental standpoint, I think it's very, very important that more and more designers get involved with this sort of generation of vehicles. That not everyone's going to own cars, and roads are going to be a different animal, and everything's going to change. And I think this is a step in thinking about that, on how that's all going to kind of come together, whether it's partly autonomous, or whether it's super light, whether it's zero carbon or multi-sourced power. All those things are important in a very, very significant way, because mostly, on the large part, they're not being addressed on a production level. So it's really important that the designers of the future are kind of moving in this direction. And it was innovative. It was slick and stylized. And Southeast Asia has the largest growing middle class in the world. And soon they'll have enough money to buy a vehicle, but they won't have enough money for fuel. And something like this could be the type of vehicle that can transform millions of people as they're kind of coming out of poverty and moving into kind of a middle-class existence. So really cool. I could go on about this vehicle forever, but for me, it really addressed many of the issues that the other vehicles didn't, and that was really cool to see. Congratulations.
Yeah, and I would like to echo, I agree with everything that James and Rob have said. I'd like to add, too, that I just love the completeness of the design. Everything's been thought through, from the app to every detail on the vehicle, the lights, the handlebars, the gauges, the vents, all, the powertrain. All of it's been thought through and designed, so it's a very complete solution. So lots of great work. Congratulations, and best of luck.
Well, that's the end of our presentation of the recognized entries, and I just want to say congratulations to everyone who entered. I mean, there's some great entries. Difficult job for all the judges. And I wanted to thank our judges, Eric and Rob, who are here right now, and also Torgny and Melissa, who couldn't make it for the recorded session, but put a lot of time into thinking about these beforehand, into our discussion day. So I appreciate that, and thanks to everybody for watching.